Hi Jackie, it's Fancy, and I'm looking at all of the postings that you've put in the forum so far, all the different iterations, starting with your little one um, through to your first, second, and third iteration. And I'm doing this with the hopes that you can see how much better this one is working, your first iteration, than your last iteration. So some of the objectives for the assignment are to create transparencies through the placement of two primary colors and the resulting secondary color. And you're to align them in a straight shot. So here we have red, orange, and yellow, blue, green, and blue, um, and purple, and red. So this is a great alignment. This is a good alignment. And this is a good alignment. So you're meeting that objective. Another objective is to use one of the three visual strategies, points of emphasis, interpenetration, or visual pathways. So you are using light points of emphasis. So that's another objective that you're meeting. Another objective is to use vanishing boundaries in those areas where the transparencies are, because that's what makes the transparencies happen or helps them to be successful. So look how well your red to orange blends together so nicely, and even look at your purple and blue, how beautifully those blend together. I'm looking for other ones. Let's see, your green and your blue right in this area are working well. So at this point, you've met the objectives, the new objectives for the assignment. You've got working on transparencies. You're using one of the three strategies. You've got areas of vanishing boundaries. At this point, you just need to improve upon this. You said that you found critique helpful last night, but you didn't recap really for me what Linda might have said, so that we're all on the same page. So I can only kind of guess. You said something about a pattern orientation. And here you can kind of see that it's maybe being set up to be a kind of a pattern orientation. But there are ways that you can, move away from that pattern orientation without moving so far in these directions. So, with that said, some of the improvements that could be made in this design is to break up your composition a little bit more evenly. You start to do that with the red and the orange and even the yellow. The yellow is kind of implied as, it's spreading off the picture plane this way. The red is kind of overpowering. It takes up the most real estate, but you could shift the blue over. You could give the blue some more area, and you could shift the purple over, and the red could become a little bit smaller. And same on the bottom. You could shift the orange up, giving the yellow a little bit more space. And for the green, you want to get that green sandwiched up here in between the yellow and the blue. So getting rid of some of this purple, replacing this purple with the green, etc. So maybe the green could come in here, right? And maybe kind of the yellow maybe in here, so that it's shared between this leg from red to orange to yellow and from yellow-green to blue. So just dividing up your space more evenly and making sure that where these different hue families come together, that you are using vanishing boundaries. I should make it larger so we can all see it a little bit better. But it's gradating pretty decently from kind of a light center outward to darker values. Your darkest values are all kind of along the perimeter here and here and here. So it would be great to think about ways that we could get some of the darker values into the more interior part of the composition. But let's go back to the vanishing boundaries. So, you know, making vanishing boundaries requires that we're using steps in adjacent scales that are similar in values. We're using values that are kind of in the same row of our hue tint shade scales, or within no more than one row across. So these, see how well this very light tint of red vanishes with this lighter tint of orange. That's what makes that boundary vanish, and look how seamlessly the red flows into the orange. However, it's coupled right next to each other with some really high value orange kind of tints and shades. Same with the red tints and shades that are really high value. But it's kind of working with your overall gradation, so it doesn't bother me too much. But here, very hard boundary. There's no kind of intermingling of the orange into the yellow or the yellow into the orange. So you haven't gotten as far here, so where these two colors meet up, as you've gotten here. So that's kind of what's missing out of there. You need to have this treatment everywhere where the colors meet. So your purple and blue vanish really well, but you're not kind of crossing the boundaries between those two colors like you have. Actually, you didn't there either. So scratch that. But where they do come together are some nice vanishing boundaries, so it's easy to make that transition to red to orange, and here it's easy to make that transition from blue to purple, and even here from blue to green. So I hope that helps a bit. Once you get kind of your composition divided up into the major hue families that you want to you want to be present, that need to be present, and you get those vanishing boundaries working well, you get those transparencies going through the vanishing boundaries, then you can start to think, do you need a secondary, very subtle kind of visual strategy, like maybe some interruptions of the light with dark, or with light in the dark with dark in the light. So some interpenetrations that are reciprocating, or maybe just some subtle visual pathways that stretch from one hue family to the other, and you can see them gradate. They can be of value. They can work with value, or they can work with color gradation within the visual pathways. Why don't you take a peek around some of the posts in our forum and see if that helps you out as well. So this is looking pretty good. We want to kind of go back to this area. So I'm hoping that you're saving different iterations of your files as you work on them. Sorry for such a long video.